All right, folks, we move on. You may have heard about the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, but have no clue what its role is. Here to speak to its relevance to Jamaica, the association's Secretary General, Mr. Akbar Khan, and Deputy Clerk within the Houses of Parliament, Miss Valerie Curtis. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning to Smile Jamaica. Welcome, sir. What is the role? Which is the question we asked at the top. So the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, what is the role?
Well, firstly, thank you very much for having me on the show to talk about the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. We're now in our 107th year, and it's an association of a community of parliaments and parliamentarians, and also parliamentary staff, which seeks to promote, connect, and develop parliamentary staff and parliamentarians, and to strengthen the institution of Parliament, to deepen our understanding of democratic governance.
Develop them in what way?
So we're Parliament and parliamentarians and their staff. It's about a learning process. It's about upskilling parliaments. It's about keeping parliaments responsive to evolving times, ensuring that parliamentarians are fully upskilled. Learning is always an ongoing process, and also for parliamentary staff. We know that parliaments, they are at the centre of our lives, and there are constant challenges and having to respond to the needs of citizens and many of the other big issues facing countries today. So it's very important that there's a community of parliamentarians and parliaments who come together, who discuss the issues, who share and exchange ideas about how others are doing things. I mean, the sort of notion that we're a global village really is absolutely right, because whether you're here in Jamaica or whether you're in the Pacific, climate change, for example, is an issue. The need to adapt and finance and to how you build resilience. The issue of youth, how you engage youth, whether you're a mature parliament or whether you are a newer country within our Commonwealth, emerging and building your resilience and engagement of young people, the issues are the same. And that sharing and exchanging views and providing a platform to come together to see how others are doing things is really the lifeblood of our association.
How has technology affected the development of Parliament over the years? Well,
I mean, I think Ms. Curtis is probably better placed to say this, but I think the importance of technology and the importance of how you connect and be accessible to your citizens so that they can be active participants is very important. So, podcasts, the opportunity, we have, for example, the Westminster Parliament talk about e-petitions. There are ways in which you can connect with your members of Parliament. You can also connect with Parliament itself. So public engagement with the institution of Parliament is absolutely critical to nurturing democracy and feeling that Parliament isn't some forbidding place where it's only the elites, the parliamentarians who live there or reside there or work there. It's actually the People's Palace. And everybody should feel that they can come to Parliament, they can observe proceedings, they can participate in proceedings, and it is their place. It is a place for the nation. So IT plays an extremely important role in the 21st century in opening that space up for everybody in a nation to be able to engage. And one aspect of opening up is, of course, live streaming. Television, live streaming, moving away from hard copies of Hansard, which would be published days later and then disseminated, to actually seeing your parliamentarians in action, discussing the issues of the day, is one aspect of a responsive parliament, but also one aspect of trying to nurture democracy and engage with the citizens.
Right.
And to add to that, as you know, our Jamaican Parliament is small.
Yes.
And we have live streaming of all our meetings, all our committees. PBCJ comes in, GIS is there. And so it brings Parliament to the people. And everyone can sit in the living room, lie in their bedroom and watch what's happening and can comment on what's happening. Yesterday we had a robust Parliament. Today I know it will be on the tongues of most Jamaicans. What happened?
Our Parliament is pretty much always robust. Ms. Curtis.
Ms. Curtis, it's a good thing you said that. Mr. Khan, I read that you're a qualified workplace investigator for misconduct. I don't know if this connects to Parliament, but we've had issues not only in our Parliament, you see it all over the world, that misbehavior and all.
Yes.
You get involved in that in your teachings and training and stuff? Do you get involved in how members of parliament behave and stuff?
Well, we certainly do. I think as a membership-based organisation, there are important questions around the ethical standards of parliamentarians. And one of the aspects of the work that we do at the Commonwealth Parliamentarians Association is about standard setting. It is about bringing together best practice and sharing that best practice. And so there's a very important piece of work which the CPA launched in 2015 called the Benchmarks for Codes of Conduct. And that is a distillation of what is the accepted best practice in terms of conduct of parliamentarians across our Commonwealth. And I find it quite disappointing, actually, that as I go around many of our parliaments in our Commonwealth countries, many parliaments haven't adopted a code of conduct yet. And so this piece of work is an important piece of work in allowing parliaments to see what is the best practice and also to try and adopt that, because ethical conduct is absolutely key to the credibility of our institutions and the reputation of those who we put there as our representatives. And I say all the time, ethical conduct is very much an integral part of an honourable profession and for modelling the behaviour for our young people. And we must always remember when we see parliamentarians that they're an honourable profession, they are modelling the behaviours for our young people and for our nation. And codes of conduct help to keep us in the right place, because we are seeing, and I think also as we see with live streaming and elsewhere, we see on parliamentary language, but we also see some very, very poor conduct in our parliamentary institutions. And the codes of conduct and their enforcement are a tool towards that.
Ms. Curtis, we see the live streaming, we see the robust discussion, but many people don't see what happens before all of that happens, and that there's a team at Parliament that has to work to make sure the documents are out and everything. How challenging is it for the team, especially here in Jamaica?
To put it bluntly,
yes,
over time, it's not challenging.
Okay.
Because when you have worked with the system and you understand the practices and the procedure, it makes work easy. For example, I've been working with the Parliament for 22 years and 7 months, so everything that happens...
And when governments change, the systems don't change.
No, the systems don't change. You go to a meeting, you can expect surprises, but nothing that cannot be handled. And we have to remember that parliamentarians are humans, and the Parliament is not a Sunday school. And so from time to time, things will happen, but within certain context.
Yes.
And
I wanted to ask you as well, how have we advanced technologically in our Parliament? You've been there for 22 years. Have you seen any changes, any developments?
Oh, yes. We have moved away from the paper everything, and we're moving more to technology. With the advance of telephones, we are just a call away from other parliaments, whether they're in Australia, South Africa, Canada, wherever. We are familiar. For example, I've been writing to Mr. Khan for quite some time and speaking with his members of his secretariat team, and I'm meeting him for the first time, and as if we have known each other for years. Because that's the whole thing with technology. We go into conferences all over, and so on. It comes. Just
to respond to something that you said earlier, some people say for whom much is given, much is expected. Finally, sir, why are you here specifically in Jamaica, sir?
Well, I have received an invitation from the Parliament to pay a bilateral visit to Jamaica. I happen to be in the region. I was as you may know, I was born in Guyana, and I paid a courtesy visit to Guyana to see the progress of having conducted a post-election seminar in 2016. I was then in St Kitts and Nevis, so the Nevis House of Assembly, recent elections in Nevis, and so part of our upskilling of parliamentarians, and this comes back to the basic point about education is a lifelong objective for all of us, wherever we may be, that elections bring a great deal of diversity to our parliament, and that's tremendous. That's the essence of elections. And so new members need induction. They also need support, and that's where parliamentary staff come in, because parliamentary staff are the front line of that support and induction. But the CPA also provides formal courses. And so I was recently in St Kitts and Nevis, in the Nevis House of Assembly, participating in an induction program called the Post-Election Seminar. So I happen to be also here in the region, and I haven't had the honour until now of visiting Jamaica.
Wow.
And so I received the invitation to come and pay a courtesy visit and a bilateral visit to the Parliament to understand and educate myself and listen to what is happening here in our parliaments. And I firmly believe it's, as I go around our Commonwealth, you know, there's some really bright lights in all of our parliaments and all of our Commonwealth countries. And part of my role is about connecting different parliaments and showcasing some of that really excellent work that is going on. Wherever you are, whether you're the largest or the smallest, our experience in the Commonwealth tells us that we can all learn from each other. The expertise, parliamentary democracy, and the evolution of parliamentary democracy certainly does not reside in our maturer parliaments. It is everyone.
Okay.
So I'm here to do the visit. I'm also here to conduct a roadshow. It's at Knutsford tomorrow. Knutsford Court. We will be bringing together a group of young people, which is part of our CPA programme, with a number of parliamentarians, to talk about the values of the Commonwealth. What's the relevance of the Commonwealth, and in particular the political values, the importance of democracy, separation of powers, gender equality, human rights, the rule of law, and how they should participate and influence and shape the society in which we live. All of our countries are now implementing the Sustainable Development Goals.
We have to go, sir.
So, yes.
We have to go. Sorry to jump in.
Not at all.
We have to go.
So our young people are critical.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming. Welcome to Jamaica. Hope you have
Thank
a
you
great
very
time
much.
while you're here.
I'm very much looking forward to my visit.
Good to meet you. Good to meet you,
Thank you, my
ma'am.
love.
Secretary General of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, Mr. Akbar Khan, and Deputy Clerk within the Houses of Parliament, Ms. Valerie Curtis.